Bonjour, this is Learn French with Frida. Bienvenue. Today we are going to be learning about how to talk about myself in French. That is moi-même. Moi-même is to say myself. This lesson is divided into 4 sections. The first section, we will just be describing how to say your name in French, how to ask someone, what is your name? And then they say their name, or what is her name, all that. The second section is about talking about your age in French. So at first, we will review numbers, just a recap of number 1 to 50, and then we will learn how to say your age in French. On the third section, we are going to describe our bodies in French. Like, how do you say, I have brown eyes, I have big ears, I have a small nose, I have long fingers, I have short legs, like that. How to describe your body in French. And the last section, that is the fourth section, we are going to learn about adjectives, how to describe yourself using adjectives in French. And then I'll allow you an opportunity to write or to talk about yourself, to describe yourself in French. Bienvenue. Let's start off with the first section where we are going to learn about how to say your name in French. The question is, comment tu t'appelles? That is when you're asking one person, what is your name? Comment tu t'appelles? And then you will answer with your name. Je m'appelle, and then you say your name in French. Someone can also be asking two people their name. There you say, comment vous appelez-vous? Comment vous appelez-vous? What is your name? But now you're asking more than two people. What is your name? Then if you're more than two people, like if you're 2 or 3 or 4, you will answer, nous appelons, and then you say your name and the other person says their name. For example, if it's Frida and Francis, they will say, nous appelons Frida et François, for example. And you can also answer one person at a time. So Frida will say, je m'appelle Frida, and then Francis will say, je m'appelle François. The other one is when you're asking someone, what is his name? For example, you've gone somewhere and you have seen someone who is very funny and you want to know their name. You're asking your friend, what is his name? That will be, comment il s'appelle? Comment il s'appelle? It's comment il s'appelle, but now the T at the end of comment, we will join it with the I on the il so that it becomes comment il s'appelle? What is his name? And then your friend will answer, il s'appelle, and then the name of that person. For example, if his name is Molly, your friend will say, il s'appelle Molly. What if she's a girl? You went to a park, you found a very nice girl there, and you wanted to hang out more with her, and you're asking someone who knows her, comment elle s'appelle? What is her name? And that person will tell you, elle s'appelle, and then their name. For example, if her name is Jolie, they will say, elle s'appelle Jolie. Her name is Jolie. There could be a time when you want to ask someone and you, for example, they have asked you, comment tu t'appelles? And you say, je m'appelle Frida. And you want to ask them, and you, what is your name? So you will say, et toi? Et toi, comment tu t'appelles? And you, what is your name? If that person is older than you and you want to give them respect, we don't use toi. We use vous. So you will say, et vous, comment vous appelez-vous? And then that person will say, Moi, je m'appelle, and then they say their name. Evo is also used for the plural. When you're asking many people their name, you're like, and you, what are your names? Like the three of you. So you will say, et vous, comment vous appelez-vous? So that is the plural, vous, you. You plural is vous. Now at this point, I want us to conjugate the verb s'appeler in present tense. S'appeler is the verb to be called in French. It's the verb we use when you're talking about the names of people. He's called Molly, she's called Jolie. That is the verb we use. And this is how we conjugate it in present tense. Je m'appelle, tu t'appelles, il s'appelle, elle s'appelle, on s'appelle. And the plural, nous nous appelons, vous vous appelez, il s'appelle, elle s'appelle. So that is the verb s'appeler in present tense. So that's why we say moi, je m'appelle, because je m'appelle is the first person singular. If it's first person plural, it will be nous nous appelons. Correct. I hope you have understood that part of asking and saying your name in French. So at this point, I would like to ask you a few questions about the verb s'appeler and also how to say your name in French. How do we say he is called in French? He is called il s'appelle. Correct. How do we say we are called? We are called nous nous appelons. Well done. How do you say your name in French? In a French sentence. Like if I asked you, comment tu t'appelles? What will you answer? Let me give you time. All right, I had it. Je m'appelle Esther or je m'appelle Jolie. So I would like you also to practice talking about your name. Start with a greeting. For example, like for me, I'll say, bonjour, je m'appelle Frida. Et toi? And you? So what will you say? I hope you got it right. Well done. So let's proceed to the second section where we are going to be talking about our age in French. How old are you? How old are you? Okay, so you answered in English, but in French? Okay, so as we said, we will start by recapping numbers 1 to 50 in French. Quickly, 1 to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's go to 11 to 20. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 21 to 30, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. 31 to 40, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. 41 to 50, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. 50. Well done. I hope you are able to remember. If not, check out my videos about numbers. They will be very helpful at such a time as this. Okay, so how do you say your age in French? First of all, what's the question? How old are you? That's the question. How old are you? And you will say, I am these and these years old, or I am 16, I am 30, I am 50. In French, we don't say I am. We say I have these and these years. Like if I translate it like directly. So we use the verb avoir. Check out how to conjugate the verb avoir if you have not seen. If you want to ask someone, how old are you? You will say, quel âge as-tu? Quel âge as-tu? Quel âge as-tu? And since you're asking one person, I'll say, j'ai 30 ans. I have 30 years, like translating directly. But that means I am 30 years old. Or if you're 20, you will say, j'ai 20 ans. If you're 23, you will say, j'ai 23 ans. If you're 42, you'll say, j'ai 42 ans. We need to know those numbers. That is when you're answering as one person. What if you want to know the ages of two people? What will you ask them? Quel âge avez-vous? Quel âge avez-vous? How old are you? Like the two of you. And they can answer together if they are the same years. They will say, nous avons 16 ans. For example, if they are 16, they'll say, nous avons 16 ans. But they can also answer individually. If one is 12 and the other one is 11, one will say, j'ai 11 ans. I am 11 years old. And the other one will say, j'ai 12 ans. I am 12 years old, or I have 12 years, yeah, if you translate it directly. All right, so that is when you're asking two people. So let's do some practice. Tell us your name and your age in French. Like for me, I'll say, bonjour, je m'appelle Frida, j'ai 30 ans. Et toi? So I'm waiting for you to tell us your name and your age in a French sentence. How will you do that? All right. So if you tried answering, you can write your answer in the comment section below. Remember to spell the words correctly. So you start with a greeting, if it's bonjour, if it's salut, if it's bonsoir, use the greeting that is relevant, and then you tell us your name, and then you tell us your age in a French sentence. I'll appreciate just to see those answers in the comments section below. Okay, so I hope you have finished. The next section, we are going to learn how to describe our looks in French. How do I look? Are you beautiful? Are you handsome? Do you have long hair? Do you have short hair? When you're describing yourself, we will be using the first person singular. Like je, j'ai, je, j'ai. Je is I, j'ai is I have. So the first thing that we're going to describe is our hair. If you have long hair, you will say, j'ai les cheveux longs. J'ai les cheveux longs. If you have short hair, you will say, j'ai les cheveux courts. J'ai les cheveux courts. The second thing we are going to describe are our eyes using the colors. So if you have black eyes, you'll say, j'ai les yeux noirs. J'ai les yeux noirs. If you have green eyes, j'ai les yeux verts. J'ai les yeux verts. And if you have blue eyes, j'ai les yeux bleus. J'ai les yeux bleus. Other people have brown eyes. If you have brown eyes, you will say, j'ai les yeux marrons. J'ai les yeux marrons. We can also describe our hair using the color. Like if it's blonde, you'll say, j'ai les cheveux blondes. J'ai les cheveux blondes. If it's black hair, you'll say, j'ai les cheveux noirs. J'ai les cheveux noirs. If it's white hair, yeah, some people have white hair or gray hair. So if it's white hair, you'll say, j'ai les cheveux blancs. J'ai les cheveux blonds. And if it's gray, you'll say, j'ai les cheveux gris. J'ai les cheveux gris. Let's go to the size of your nose. If you have a small nose, you'll say, j'ai un petit nez. J'ai un petit nez. And if you have a big nose, you will say, j'ai un grand nez. J'ai un grand nez. The next part that you're going to describe is our mouths. If you have a big mouth, you will say, j'ai une grande bouche. J'ai une grande bouche. If you have a small mouth, you'll say, j'ai une petite bouche. J'ai une petite bouche. The next thing we are going to describe are our legs. If you have long legs, you will say, j'ai les longues jambes. If you have short legs, you will say, j'ai les jambes courtes. J'ai les jambes courtes. The next thing are your hands. If you have long hands or short hands. If you have long hands, you will say, j'ai de longues mains. J'ai de longues mains. If you have short hands, you will say, j'ai les mains courtes. J'ai les mains courtes. How about your fingers? If you have long fingers, you will say, j'ai de longs doigts. J'ai de longs doigts. If you have short fingers, you will say, j'ai les doigts courts. J'ai les doigts courts. Alright, so are you able to describe yourself using the descriptions that we have learned about? Describe your hair, describe your mouth, describe your eyes, describe your hands, describe your legs, describe all those parts of your body, whether they are long or short, and the color of your hair, the color of your eyes, all that. Are you able to do that? So start with your name and then your age, and then you describe at least two parts the way we have done earlier. Let me start. Bonjour, je m'appelle Frida. J'ai 30 ans. J'ai les cheveux noirs. J'ai les yeux noirs. Et j'ai deux jambes longues. Okay, so you also, your turn now. Start with your name and your age, and then you describe any two parts of your body in French. I'm giving you a few seconds to do that. And if you're able, you can write them in the comments section below. Or if you're not able to write in the comment section, just say, I have finished on the comment section. I'll be able to see who has done that exercise and who has not. Okay. Well done. For that exercise, I can see people who have already done and completed that exercise. Now let's go to the fourth section where we are going to be describing ourselves using a few adjectives that we already know. I'll task you also to find out more adjectives that describe you as a person. On this section, we are going to use the verb être in present tense. This is the verb that we use when we want to say, I am, you are, he is, she is, we are, you are, and they are. That's the verb to be. In French, it's called être. So we will start by conjugating that verb in French in present tense. Je suis, tu es, il est, elle est, on est. The plural, nous sommes, vous êtes, ils sont, elles sont. So that's the verb we are going to use when we are describing ourselves using adjectives. The first one is to say, I am beautiful. I am beautiful in French is je suis belle. Je suis belle. And the plural, we are beautiful, will be nous sommes belles. Nous sommes belles. For the boys, I am handsome. I am handsome in French is je suis beau. Je suis beau. And the plural, nous sommes beaux. Correct. Nous sommes beaux. The second sentence is I am intelligent. I am intelligent. Since I am a girl, I'll say je suis intelligente. Je suis intelligente. If it's a boy talking or a man, he will say je suis intelligent. Je suis intelligent. Because the adjectives also change depending on the gender of the noun we are describing. If you want to say we are intelligent and we are girls, we will say nous sommes intelligentes. Nous sommes intelligentes. If we are boys, we will say nous sommes intelligents. Nous sommes intelligents. You can see the ending there has an S because we are many. Let's proceed. The next adjective is when you want to say, he is funny. He is funny. He made you laugh the whole time and you want to say, he is very funny. If you want to say, he is funny, you will say, il est drôle. Il est drôle. If you want to say she's funny, you will say elle est drôle. How about if you want to say I am funny? If it's you who is funny, you will say je suis drôle. Je suis drôle. The next one is boring. Some people could be boring. If she's a girl and she's boring, you will say elle est ennuyante. Elle est ennuyante. And if it's a boy who is boring, you'll say il est ennuyant. If it's yourself who is boring, can someone say confidently that I am boring? Okay, if you want to say I am boring, you will say je suis ennuyante. Je suis ennuyante. The next one is when you want to say that she is pretty. She is pretty is elle est jolie. Elle est jolie. And if you want to say I am pretty, je suis jolie. Je suis jolie. Let's go to the next one. Courageous. If you want to say she is courageous, you will say elle est courageuse. Elle est courageuse. And if you want to say he is courageous, you will say il est courageux. Il est courageux. If you're talking about yourself and you are female, you will say je suis courageuse. Je suis courageuse. And if you're talking about yourself and you're male, you will say je suis courageux. Je suis courageux. All right, so those are the few adjectives that I had prepared for you today, but I can task you to just go ahead and research more adjectives and see how you can use them in sentences. But on to our practice activity. Use any two of those adjectives to describe yourself. You start with your name, your age, and then you describe yourself using any of those two adjectives. I will show you an example. Je m'appelle Frida. J'ai 30 ans. Je suis jolie. Je suis belle. Those are two adjectives. I can add more and more, but the activity tells you to use two. You can also add more and more, but the list should be two. So I give you 10 seconds to practice that. You can even write it in the comment section below. I will be glad to see what you have written in the comment section below. Okay, so we are slowly coming to the end of our lesson today. Thank you for joining us. We have been learning about moi-même. Before we finish, let's do a recap of what we have been learning about today. The topic is moi-même, and that means myself. We were learning on how to describe yourself in French. So we started by learning about the verb s'appeler, which means to be called, so that we can learn how to say my name in French, your name, his name, her name, their name in French. After that, we formed sentences to just say our names in French, and the example we gave is Je m'appelle Frida. And of course, I asked you to say your own name in French. On the second section, we learned how to say our age in French. We recapped numbers 1 to 50 in French because most of us are around that age gap, so that we are able to say our age in a full French sentence. And then we formed sentences. We said that we use the verb avoir when saying our ages in French. And of course, I gave you an example with myself. J'ai 30 ans. And I asked you to form your own sentence saying your own age in French. On the third section, we learned how to describe our looks in French. How do you look? Describe your body in French. And we described our hair, we described our eyes, our nose, our mouth, our hands, our legs, and all that in French. And then I asked you to, of course, form two sentences to describe your own body in French. For example, the color of your hair, the color of your eyes, the size of your hair. Yeah, and my example was j'ai les cheveux noirs, j'ai les yeux noirs. The fourth section that we have just finished, we were describing ourselves using adjectives. Who are you? we formed sentences to describe ourselves or to describe someone else using adjectives. I also gave you a chance to form sentences describing yourself with at least two adjectives. Which ones did you use? Okay, so for me, I said, je suis jolie, je suis belle. You can use other adjectives to describe yourself in French. Were you stuck anywhere? Is there any clarification that you needed? Please reach out to me on my email, frenchwithfrida@gmail.com. I will be glad to help to answer any question that you come across and also to mark your work. If you've written it down, just take pictures and send to my email. I will be very glad just to receive that kind of feedback. Before we finish this lesson, I'll give you a few practice activities to do at home as your homework. The first one is changing some adjectives to feminine form and to masculine form. For example, when we were talking about courageous, for the feminine form, we said it's courageuse. And for the masculine form, it's courageux. So I will give you two adjectives that you're going to change into feminine form and masculine form. The first one is intelligent. The adjective intelligent. How does it become in feminine form? And how does it become in masculine form? The second adjective is boring. Someone who is boring, really. How does it become in feminine form and how does it become in masculine form? Change those two adjectives to French, both for the feminine and masculine form, and let me know how you find that exercise in the comment section below or also in my email. The second activity that you're going to work on at home is a speaking activity. You can write it down and then read, or you can actually speak about it. Start with the greetings, the relevant greetings. We have learned about greetings so many times. Tell us your name in French. Tell us your age in French. Describe at least 5 parts of your body in French. And then describe yourself using any 5 adjectives in French. That will be a full composition entitled Moi-même. Start with a greeting. Tell us your name. Tell us your age. Describe your body and your looks. And then describe yourself using any 5 adjectives. If there is any adjective that you want to use and we have not learned about it today, you can check out from the internet and write them down. Let me know also the progress of that exercise in the comment section or on my email, frenchwithfrida@gmail.com. Thank you for joining us today. We have really learned a lot. In the next lesson, we are going to continue with moi-même, but we will be describing other things about ourselves. You sure do not want to miss the next lesson also. This is Learn French with Frida. Subscribe to my channel so that you can continue receiving notifications every time I upload a lesson. Share my videos widely so that we can reach as many people as possible. Like the video. Over for now. See you in the next video.